Hey guys, it's Allan Whatmore here. Okay, and so in this video today, I want to give you a really simple system so that you can think about your lead quality and lead scoring so you can ultimately improve your lead quality and get more conversions on the other end. Okay, and so the reason why I made this video or making this video is because that a lot of people that I've spoken to and a lot of businesses have different definitions of what a lead is. Some people say you have a hot lead or a cold lead. Some people think of lead as being a genuine contact. We're going to cover all that in this video. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to start by saying, okay, first things first is we have a lead. Now, by lead, okay, in this context, it's just someone who has opted in to something, okay? And we want bare basics. We want their name, we want their email address, and we want their mobile number as well, okay, so that we can contact them. Now, from the lead that comes through, that's great, but what we want is we want a qualified lead, okay? Or so we want someone who's going to be a good fit, okay? So the best way, there's three ways to do it. In terms of lead, we want someone who is within our ideal client profile. Okay, so by ideal client profile, let's say if you're looking for pre-retirees, the person's a pre-retiree, and let's say you're looking for someone who has X amount in superannuation or their pension, they've got that. Okay, so they fit within your ideal client profile. Okay, at the same time, there also needs to be intent. So by intent is that they want to do the thing or get help with the service that you offer. Okay, so if it's financial planning services, if it's helping people buy their first property, if it's helping people to get a loan, they want to do that thing. Okay, and then there's agreements to move forward. And by agreements to move forward, it's to move into having an actual meeting, okay, or an appointment. So if you get all these three things, this is what your definition should be of a qualified lead, right? Someone who ticks all these three boxes. So then from there, okay, assuming they pass, really good, then we get a appointment or a meeting, right? So you can call it whatever it is that you like. So we've got our appointment here. Okay, so they've ticked this, they're in our ideal client profile, they have the intent, and they're in agreement to move forward. Okay, so then that takes us to our appointment. Okay, so then we'll do the appointment, and you might do the appointment by phone, or you might do it via Zoom or Teams or video conference, or you might do it in person. Okay, it's really up to you. Typically, what we do for our clients is we do first appointments as phone appointments. And the reason we do that is there's less friction, so we get a higher show up rate. And let's say if we're targeting people who are working or they're on site, okay, and they can't normally show up to a Zoom or a Teams, they can still show up by phone and take it on their lunch break. So this works really well for us. So then once we have an appointment, okay, we want to have a conversation for them. We want to identify from that conversation, are they a good fit? Okay. In other words, is there alignment between what their situation is and then what we can help them with, or are they a bad fit? Okay. And people have different definitions of this, but typically a lot of it comes down to alignment within the firms. If they're in a position that they can genuinely be helped, because they might tick all these boxes, okay, but at the end of the day, until you have that actual conversation for them with them and get context, it's hard to put like a definitive metric. And the challenge with doing this is a lot of people will put these hard metrics in order to place more friction here. But then what happens is you scope out people that could potentially have been your best customers. So, for example, if someone doesn't look good on paper, let's say that they don't have the super balance, for example, or they don't have the liquid cash available right now, but they're about to get their inheritance, or they're about to sell a property, that could be your best customer, right? But because you have hard qualifying metrics in place, then it adds friction, and then those people never make it through to an appointment. So what you want to do is you want to think about it in terms of what their current situation is, okay? And preferably, you want to get context of their situation before they actually move forward and actually have metrics that you can then bring back here based on data. So at the start, what we always say to clients is we want to keep it relatively open. We want to get these basics in terms of ICP, intent, and agreements, but if preferable, we would rather have people come through, particularly at the start, and then refine based on data, because that'll always be the best thing to do, as opposed to just putting hard filters on it. Okay, so you want to allow data to flow through, so you actually have proper insights, and then you can make adjustments to the system from there. Okay. So then we got appointments, okay, and then we got good fit or bad fit, okay. And if they're bad fit, then they get opted out. And if they're a good fit, then they progress to probably a second appointment, um, where you then go through in deeper strategy. You do a deep dive. You might do like a fact find doc, and then you'll present the investment. And then from there on, then they either agree yes or no. You close and you get a client, or they still there's for some reason they're not ready right now. So then you nurture them, okay, and you follow up with them, and you just keep them in the pipeline. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. So the reason why I'm making this video for you is because if you think of it like an actual system, you'll know where to fix the bottlenecks. Versus if I said here you have a hot or a cold lead, that doesn't mean anything necessarily. Okay, hot or cold doesn't mean anything. Most of the time, when I hear people say this, it's based on their gut feel, okay, or emotion. Now, that's not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Okay, that's fine. But if you don't have any actual raw data to filter through a system, you don't actually know what to improve. Okay, so if we just had those insights, whether they were hot or cold, we would never have any further insights in order to improve the system. So hopefully, this is starting to make sense with you. So what you need to think about is you need to think about your lead generation as a system, okay, or let's say a pipe or a plumbing system. You want to have a process to take people through, right through to the end. You want to allow maximum throughput, okay, so you can get as much data physically as possible, and then you want to optimize based on the actual inputs, okay, and the results that you're getting. And just by doing that and looking at it from a data perspective, you're going to get maximum leads, you're going to get maximum qualified leads, you get maximum appointments, you get max good fits, max second appointments, and then max clients out at the end of it, okay? Because you'll be able to focus on each part of the process individually. Another thing that we do for our clients as well, that for the people who are good fits, we could take that data, okay, and then feed it back into our lead sourcing or algorithms for the platforms we use in order to let them know, okay, these people are really good. Can you give us more of these people? Okay, and that's in the form of what's called a conversion API. I won't get too technical into it, but it sort of gives you an idea, right? And so even then, when we get clients, we can also do the same thing as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but hopefully that's giving you an idea. Okay, so in summary, you need to think of it as a system. Okay, you want maximum amount of leads, you want maximum amount of people who fit the ideal client profile, who have intent, and who are in agreement to move forward with the process. So you can get the maximum amount of appointments. From those appointments, you want to get the maximum amount of good fits or bad fits, then second appointments, and then clients in those. There's another thing as well you also have here, which is shows. Okay, your show rate as well. So the amount of people that actually show up for the appointments, that's getting a little bit technical. Okay. But I feel like you understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, hopefully that made a lot of sense. If you feel like you'd like to see a system like this working for your business, there should be a link below. You can book in a call. You don't have to. It's absolutely fine. But hopefully this gave you really good context into how you can build a system like this for yourself. My name is Allan Whatmore. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day.